Today on The Binge Thinker, I'm talking to you about my trip to Amsterdam to get some business done. I show you how to master your sleep and get you well rested for a great future ahead. And I teach you about purpose and the Japanese concept of Ikigai. My name is Jameel Raymond. I am The Binge Thinker. Hello and welcome to The Binge Thinker episode 43. My name is Jameel Raymond. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here as always. Today's episode is going to be a bit of a loose one, a bit of a fast one. Why is that? I'm actually on the way to Amsterdam this evening. I'm trying to get all my shit together before I go for 3 weeks to Amsterdam and Bangkok for a bit of fun, for a bit of work. It's actually mostly work. We're going to kick into it and tell you the whys. I wonder if you can hear my dishwasher just absolutely ruining the audio from my perspective in the background. Hey, like we said, authenticity, baby. People like me on the internet also have dishwashers. Fantastic. Anyway, we kick things off. We're going to go straight through to what's happening in my solopreneur journey. So at the moment, folks, I'm off to Amsterdam. I've just said that. For Amsterdam and Bangkok for 3 weeks. Why am I going? I actually, first of all, went to Amsterdam because I won a top sales prize at Cisco, a global top sales prize for the best performing specialist, my job, globally, which sounds pretty hectic, right? So I'm pretty stoked about that. Did I know that I was eligible for this prize? No, it came as a complete surprise to me, actually. In December last year, I was just scoping through some of the chats, the internal chats. I'm sure most of you people have enjoyed the delights of Teams and WebEx and all of those collaboration tools that we have in the modern world. And I saw a photo of me come up next to an award called Perfect 10. And I was like, I wonder what this Perfect 10 award is about. Lo and behold, wasn't about my looks. Who would have thought? Anyway, I was like, cool, I'm getting an award of some sort. There is another all hands that we need to be part of. It's a big town hall meeting at a global level that everyone has to tune into. And then, I found out that I get to win a shadow week to a location of my choice somewhere else in the world. And I was like, fuck, that is dope. So for a week, I get to go to Amsterdam. I chose Amsterdam out of the options that I had. And I've been gearing up for this trip for the last couple of months now. So I get to spend a week there. Flights are paid for a week. Hotel paid for a week. Get per diems to cover food and activities and stuff. I get to hang out with my Amsterdam counterparts and my European counterparts, which is going to be a lot of fun. I get to meet the vice president of my business unit inside Cisco, which is insane. He's a big wig. He's almost pretty much like the second highest dude or the third highest dude in Cisco that I report to. So pretty hectic. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I leave tonight. And then after my week in Amsterdam, I get to have a week off. I was like, I can tack an extra week of annual leave here. And I asked him if I could do so. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Why not? Why would you go all that way for just a week? That's one of the great perks of working at Cisco is that if you do these global travel, they let you stay for a little bit longer on your own personal time. And then you can choose a flight back if you need. Fucking great perk. Love it. So I'm putting an extra week in by myself. My best mate, Daniel Archer, is coming with me on my week off, so it's going to be fucking hectic. We are great mates. We've had a lot of fun getting loose in the past. 2 blokes with a bit of cash getting buck wild in Amsterdam for a weekend. Shit's fucking scary. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I really don't. But then even worse, after that, the weekend that we was hanging out together, I've actually got to go back into work and present at a global level at another all hands, a similar one to where I figured out I won the prize. So I'm actually working on my time off. But I was like, fuck, they paid for the trip. Why wouldn't I want to build my brand in the company? They give me more perks like this. Why the fuck not? So, I'm off after Amsterdam. I'm off to Bangkok. Funnily enough, I was actually going to go to Bangkok because of work, and I am. they have something called a knowledge exchange. And what that means is basically they just fly in all of the people that are in my architecture, all the products that I sell. And they have a knowledge exchange where all of the vendors that try and sell through us basically schmooze us for 3 days and they pay for the trip. So we have to hear all their product plays and what their strategy is in market. And in the meantime, I get to, get drunk and have fun in Bangkok at the Bangkok Hilton, again, with all expenses paid. It's a fucking pretty good life, eh? This is what I'm telling you, folks. Get into tech sales. Be good at it, because the perks are muy bueno. So why am I telling you about this? Here's an interesting thing that I've been working on. I'm actually going to pitch the sales course idea to the vice president of my business unit. I get a half an hour meeting with this guy and one of my counterparts who also won the trip and is going to Amsterdam with me. So it's like a private half an hour, 40-minute conversation where we get to meet and greet, have a chat about with them and the business. And I've asked for a few minutes during that session so that I can pitch my sales course to him. And it's a fucking ballsy move, because the reason why I'm doing it is because it's his business, the people in his business unit, people like myself or younger. I'm quite senior as far as experience and capability where I work at the moment. They need more people like me. They need people with just as much sales experience and capability. And it's quite simple in the logic. It's like, hey, I'm one of your best salespeople in the world, and I'm creating a course that's exactly suited to the needs of your people so they become more like me. Isn't that interesting for you and your business to make more money? That's the core of the pitch, right? Is to go, hey, you've got a young sales force who is my target market for this course that I'm building, because I see all of the pain points and all of the troubles that have not been addressed in a decade of being in this industry. So I'm going to build this solution, and it's going to be everything that I wish I knew when I started out, and it'll be perfect for the people that you are bringing into this business, because a lot of your team are just recruiting people without tech sales experience, without any tech sales experience or tech experience at all, no business experience, no acumen, and not a lot of some people skills. That's usually the thing that they have a little bit of, but that shit develops over time. No one's been an account manager before. No one's been involved in business in any major way. A lot of the people that I work with are grads, people very early in their career, or they're engineers that don't have a lot of people skills. And those are my target market for this course. So yeah, I'm going to just pitch it to him, see what he thinks. And it's a big deal because there's a lot of upside in this opportunity for me, right? If I get this right, I could potentially sell this course to the company that I'm working for. And I could be an enablement person. I could be a contractor where I could teach and facilitate my course to their sales force. I could sell thousands of these courses to the organization. It's a lot of potential for me, right? So I don't want to fuck this up. But on the other side, right, it's intimidating, right? It's intimidating to be pitching to this seemingly powerful dude. He seems like a very grounded guy from what I can see, real human, not some lofty exec. He seems like a real salt of the earth dude, which is awesome. But it's not to say that I am, you still get intimidated by this misskewed perception of power. But the reality is, and what I have to ground myself in, is that this is not going to make or break what I do in my journey as a solopreneur. I'm going to build this and create this and put it out to the market and sell it as a one-to-one for people that are passionate like me about their own self-education. I'm not pitching this towards corporations because I don't want to deal with their bullshit. I'm trying to get out of that. So the idea is I'm showing this to get him invested and excited in it. Maybe we can find a way to collaborate and we can work on some sort of deal together where I can build this course, facilitate it, give it to the sales force, because I can tell you now, the conversations that I've had within my broader team about what I'm doing, people fucking excited. People want to hear more about it because I know these pain points. I've seen this pain happen for years. I see the next generation behind me suffering the same problems. And So I know how to really annotate to that because I was them, right? One of the key features about this course for me is about that mentorship, is about me clearing the path and having to go through and do all the shit work to get to where I was, bundle it up, pass it to the next generation. I walk so they can run. So that's what I'm doing is I'm going to pitch to this guy. I'm building my brand inside Cisco any way that I can. That's why I'm presenting at the all hands. That's why I want to leverage this opportunity by meeting execs, getting to know them, and just building my capabilities in this business. But also knowing that no matter what, it's not about just being, I might be the shiny cog in the machine. I'm still going to get out. And what they say or do isn't actually going to affect my direction in life and where I'm taking myself. And that's a tough but powerful position to be in, right? To be steady in that. And to remember that this is not about ceding to the corporation. This is about, having a beneficial exchange, a win-win exchange of what our needs are. I want money. They want experience to make more money. Sounds good. So yeah, even though I'm going on this trip, it is not necessarily a lot of play. There's a lot of work involved, a lot of brand building. I'm going to shoot a bunch of content for the sales course while I'm in Amsterdam and Bangkok that literally talk about the perks of being in this industry, in tech sales, right? I may want to leave it to a degree, but it's still a fucking great place to develop a career, develop a skill set, and develop skills for life. All right. I've facilitated the ability to understand businesses, how to uplift them with technology, how to influence multiple stakeholders toward a shared outcome, have had leadership in technology, in people, and these are skills that compound for life. And that's why I'm really passionate about teaching this course to others, is because I'm trying to teach life skills that can be facilitated in the most wealth generating capacity that we have here, right? It's a training ground of developing these skills in the regular business world, in the traditional business world. And we all know all the great leaders, all the great technologists who are able to generate massive amounts of wealth is, again, leveraging people and technology. So that's why I love being where I am. I'm very grateful for where I am, and that's why I want to teach this to others, because it's a good place to be. It's a good skill set to learn. They're both evergreen industries, sales and tech. So if you combine them together, money, baby. Just look at the top 5 companies on the planet, all tech-based, right? Amazon, Google, or Alphabet, Microsoft, Tesla. There's someone else in there, I'm sure. It used to be Facebook. They're fucking falling off the cliff because Meta's shit now. And Zuckerberg has just ruined it. But hey, yeah. Anyway, there we go. Bit of a ramble, bit of a tangent. Just riffing off the top of my dome here because I'm feeling the pressure to make sure I get this pod done quickly so I can get the fuck out of here. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be recording the pod from Amsterdam, from Bangkok. So, you might hear some Dutch people in the background. This is going to be an accent-heavy show, by the way, for all the wrong reasons. That's my Dutch accent. What's that Thai accent? I'm not going to even bother. I'm probably going to get cancelled for that. No, probably not. Maybe they'll probably dig this up in a few years when hopefully I've gotten bigger and they go, see, he's a racist. He's a piece of shit. I'm a racist. I'm a piece of shit. That's going to be a great soundbite at some point in time. All right. I'm getting out of hand here. Numero dos, second part of the show is about systems, systematic thinking, physical, mental, spiritual systems, identifying, building, enhancing, iterating, all about that shit. Get to it. Last week we talked about diet, high protein keto, the benefits. It's fucking great. I back it every day, all day. Now we're going to look at sleep, the next big fundamental. In the physical systems, right? The big 4 is your diet, your sleep, exercise, hormones. Those are your big four. Now, I didn't really care much about sleep growing up. I didn't really acknowledge how beneficial it was, but neither has most people, right? We just assume it's the thing we do and we just are tired, we go to bed, we wake up, and, we always feel groggy in the morning, always feel like shit. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And previously, when I was younger, yeah, I slept terribly. I did not realize how bad my sleep hygiene was. That's a new term that I've come across since I've turned 30, is sleep hygiene, which is actually really useful, right? But it just shows, you care less about the dumb shit and the minutia in your 20s, and you're like, I need to get a solid 7-8 hours so I can achieve all the things I want to do in my day. Which sounds really boring and adulty shit, but that's actually legitimately what I do. And yeah, it's fucking great. Understanding how I sleep, how to uplift my sleep has been immense in regards to my mood, my productivity and output. Like, sleep, we all do it. We spend a third of our lives asleep, right? A third of our existence. If you optimize that part, even if we're not conscious of it, and we set up frameworks around it, we can get much more out of the other 16 hours that we're supposed to be awake and getting shit done. So in the past, when I was young, my sleep was dog shit. In my teens and early 20s, particularly like really, that 18 to 21 phase, my sleep was awful. My sleep cycle was completely off. I would go to bed like 4 in the morning for no good reason, just up on the internet, watching TV, doing dumb shit, and then wake up at like 12 or 1 in the afternoon. Insane. Really, really bad. I used to hate going to bed when I was a kid as well. Never really had much of a bedtime. My parents weren't very strict on it. And also because of my I used to have shitty sinuses, still kind of do, and a gigantic fucking tongue. I didn't realize how bad mouth breathing was for me and how much it fucked my quality of sleep up. Because what would happen is I have this gigantic tongue that makes me open my mouth when I sleep because all my muscles are relaxed, and then I breathe through my mouth, and I would get these disgusting, congealed saliva, just that weird white goopy shit inside my mouth all the time. I'd wake up with a dry mouth, salty. Ugh, fucking gross, man. And yeah, I used to just never be a morning person either. Really groggy. You know, typical dude that's snoozing his alarm like 7, 8 times. Always used to be late for things in the morning. Was never a morning person. But I had to make myself one to get shit done in life, right? I had to, because I had a full day working, the 9 to 5 grind, the office life for the last few years. And then I wanted to do comedy in the evenings and get out and about and have time to live. I had to force myself to wake up early in the morning to go to the gym because that was also important to me as well. So living with my ex, who was a morning person, she helped reinforce some of that in my life. I was not great at it, admittedly, but in the last couple of years, I've definitely had to become a morning person and just suck it the fuck up and get shit done. Which actually makes it sound like I'm going through this slog of waking up and every day, but I'm actually not at the moment. It's actually quite good. So now I wake up at 5:30 every morning. Most morning weekdays, let's just say that, and a little bit. And my body's waking me up around 5:30, 6 o'clock on the weekends anyway. I allow myself a little bit of a sleep in. That usually means I get up about 7 every morning. But 5:30 every morning, sometimes my body will just naturally wake me up earlier. Which is kind of cool, right? I think it's a combination of all the tools we're about to share in my system and a lot of purpose, right? I'm very excited about where I am in life, and I get excited about what I can build day by day. And that's what a purposeful life will give you. If you've got something to work towards, you get excited for the day in front of you because you get to build. And that's something that I love doing. So what do I do to optimize my sleep? I do a numerous amount of things. Let's just roll straight through them. Number one, getting the right mattress and pillow setup. I never understood what good sleep hygiene or sleep posture meant for how I slept. I was just given a bed like everyone else was when they were a kid. You just get the bed you're given as a child. When I started sleeping on my own bed, I never knew anything about being a side sleeper versus a back sleeper. Almost completely a side sleeper, which is tough because I've got a fairly broad frame, which means that my hips and my shoulders are out of alignment. And I didn't understand things like mattress firmness, how much they influenced the way you sleep. For years, I slept on my ex's bed when we were living together, and it used to give me fucking shoulder problems because the mattress was just not supportive for my body type. I used to get really bad shoulder problems and pain. I did not get great sleep on it. And also, the pillow posture of my neck was really fucked as well. So I'd wake up with stiff necks, or I always liked a high pillow. I'm a big fan of a high, firm pillow because that keeps your head in a neutral position while you're side sleeping now. So if you're a side sleeper like me, you need a soft to medium mattress. It needs to be able to take the bulk of you on your side to maintain a neutral spine while you sleep. Because if you don't have a neutral spine, you're spending 6 to 8 hours in this weird angle all the time. And that's what creates these postural imbalances. In fact, I sleep on my right-hand side so often, and I think I used to have such bad posture that I have a bit of scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine, left or right. My spine curves a little bit to the left because I've been sleeping on my shoulder poorly for all of this time, for years. Only in the last couple of years I haven't, but I'm still very right-hand dominant when it comes to sleep. And the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to tuck your elbow into your arm, into your body when you're sleeping. You know how people do that weird, that two-hand sleep thing when you do that? You actually don't do that. You should actually sleep on your shoulder. You should lift your shoulder up above your head, put the pillow in between your shoulder and your neck, and sort of sleep with it with a slightly smaller pillow in between. And the reason why is because you actually keep your shoulder open during the night. Instead of closing it and putting it in this compromised, rotated position where your shoulder is rotated in, which causes your scapula and your shoulder girdle to go out of whack. And then you wake up with fucked shoulders like I do and a crooked spine. And I didn't realize that until about 4 or 5 years ago when I went to one of my fitness coaches when I used to do CrossFit and go, how the fuck do I fix this terrible posture? And yeah, he told me, enlightened me about sleep posture and how it affects how you operate day to day. So, high firm pillow, get your neck to a neutral position so you're not like flopping over and overextending your neck muscles when you sleep. If you're a back sleeper, you can go a firm mattress. I can never be a back sleeper because my tongue just rolls to the back of my throat and I go all the time. So every time I fall asleep in a car, I'm always just like, great visual for those on the YouTube, apologize in advance. And yeah, if you're a side sleeper, soft to medium mattress. You need to formulate a great environment to cultivate good sleep habits. Invest in a bed. Right? We spend $30,000-$40,000 minimum on a nice car that we use, maybe an hour or two every day. You're on your fucking bed for a third of your life. So invest into it, you motherfucker. I don't know why I get so angry at the end of those, but it's just about, hey, get this shit done. Invest. Always invest in yourself. Talked about that last week. Always bears repeating. Invest in good shit for yourself. So what else am I doing while I'm asleep? I tape my mouth when I sleep. I tape my mouth shut. Just a little bit of medical tape over the lips, just like that, every night now. Because before we were talking about mouth breathing. Mouth breathing is not good for you. There's a great book by James Nestor called Breath. Is it James Nestor that does Breath? Yeah, Stephen Kotler does flow, James Nestor does breath. And he explains the differences, the massive differences in mouth breathing versus nose breathing. We should be breathing through our noses as often as we can unless we're doing high cardio exercise when we are really running out of breath. So what that does, if you do not sleep with your mouth closed, it creates weakening of the jaw and weak jaw posture. And so when you see those people and they've got like no chin, that's because they probably have really bad sleep posture, of course, the way their jaw is placed when they sleep. Most likely because they sleep with their mouth open. There is evidence to show that if you sleep with your mouth closed, your jaw muscles will develop and you get a squarer jaw. Particularly for men, that's a good thing, right? A nice square jaw is a great attractive feature in a dude. And I have definitely noticed a difference in the time that I have taped my jaw shut. I do think I have better jaw posture and a bit more bulk around the mandible compared to what I used to look like. Now, also, I've lost a few kilos, so I do look a little less heavier in the face, but I think it helps define it as well. Aesthetics aside, the reason why I do it is to actually make sure I breathe through my nose and stop breathing through my mouth so I don't have that gross, gooey feeling of that just accumulated, dried saliva in my mouth. And sleeping better and breathing through my nose provides more deep and restful sleep. Now, I used to be afraid of breathing through my nose when I slept because I used to have sinus problems a lot when I was a kid. Dust allergies, pollen allergies. I never used to look after my home environment. Whenever I get hay fever a lot, which just immediately blocks my sinuses up. So I was habitually breathing through my mouth. And I used to get a little bit afraid when I started this mouth tape stuff because I didn't know if I'll be able to breathe properly through the night. But my body now, it almost goes, hey, sinuses, fuck off for a bit. We've got to sleep. Or it's going, hey, we have no other option to get air in. Let's shrink these sinus canals and let some air through when I sleep. So it's really surprising. It's like I have never had, even though I had that initial fear, the body's just like, all right, we got to do some breathing for some sleeps. Get it done, which is sweet. So tape over the mouth every night. Keep that jaw nice and tight. Keep that tongue locked in so I don't choke on it. I mean, my tongue is gigantic. So if I ever choked on my tongue, there's no hope for me. I'm fucked. So yeah, what else is there with that? Yeah, sleep tape over the mouth. If you're a mouth breather, fix that shit up. Really good for you. I have, again, better circulation, better rest, more aesthetic jaw. Fucking great investment for literally getting a $3 or $4 roll of medical tape from the pharmacist, taking off like a 3-inch square, just enough to cover the lips, like that fucking idiot on Big Brother. Remember who's that guy? Remember that guy in Big Brother in Australia, like 15 years ago or 20 years ago now, that taped his mouth on live TV and he had the thing that said "Free the refugees"? Yeah, that, but without the political agenda. Do that. So that's when I be sleeping, when I be awakening. Now, what's the hardest part about going to bed? Waking up in the morning. So what I've been doing, particularly when I don't have natural sun to wake me up, all right, I've found a newfound appreciation of the sun and sunlight. I can't wait to live in a place one day where it's equatorial, which gets a lot of sun with long mornings and long nights, and I would love the sun to naturally wake me up every day. Unfortunately, now as we head into winter in Australia, that's not possible. I mean, the sun doesn't really get up at 5 o'clock in most places anyway. So to replicate natural sun waking me up, as we all should, when we were cavemen sleeping outdoors and we'd be up at dawn and going to bed at dusk, I use an automated LifeX globe that's preset to red, right? Full red. And what I do is 15 minutes before my alarm, so about 5:15 every morning, I've automated it through Apple HomeKit for it to turn on at just like 1% on that red light. And that is enough. It replicates the sunrise getting through your eyes. It replicates morning sun. So it's a nice way, instead of that alarm, to fucking pull you out of bed and you get jolt through, and that's when you feel like shit because you just had this massive spike of cortisol run through your body. It slowly guides you out of REM sleep into a wakeful state. And then by 5:30, my alarm goes off, and it's not a big shock because my body is slowly waking up. Sometimes, you're in that just before you're awake, sort of, you're semi-asleep mode. My body again is just annotated or allocated itself to that. Aligned, there it is. That's the word I'm looking for. Aligned. And yeah, I notice it. My body goes, oh, almost time to wake up. Sometimes when I do sense that light, I'm like, okay, I might as well just get up now because I've got like 10 minutes to go and I'm not feeling too bad. So that's what I do in the morning to facilitate a slow, emergent morning routine. At night, I do not like to have bright lights on. I also automate the lights in my house to be, I think it's called a candlelight function. So it replicates low orangey light, like just having a bunch of candles in the room. And that's a good way, again, to manage that circadian rhythm, right? Just sort of trick the body and the eyes into thinking, oh, it's naturally sunrise and it's naturally sunset. Now, where did I get these ideas from? The red light one I got from somebody else, but most of my sleep tips come from a fantastic human being called Dr. Andrew Huberman. Now, if you've been on YouTube or anywhere in the Roganverse, you will know who Dr. Andrew Huberman is. If not, he is a Stanford University professor of neurobiology and is a neuroscientist, and he is putting out the latest in science-supported protocols to maximize your health. This guy is a fucking godsend to the critical thinking and modern health society ecosystem. The fact that he's sharing these up-to-date tools, people that are passionate biohackers and performance-based individuals like myself are eating Andrew's shit up. I love his clips. He puts out lots of science-backed information, how those protocols work, and even spells them out and has the science behind them published on his website. So I'm a big fan of Huberman's work, particularly around sleep. His sleep toolkit is an absolute game changer when it comes to just downloading a system, right? We're talking about building our systems up. There is nothing wrong with taking the systems and using them from other people and using them for yourself. It's not stealing, it's being offered out into the world for everyone's benefit. I highly recommend you look at Dr. Andrew Huberman's sleep toolkit. If you Google that, it'll come up immediately. And follow Andrew's shit, man. Follow Dr. Andrew Huberman's shit. As far as that tribe of mentors that I've talked about last week, he is one of them. He is like my science advisor, health science advisor. I listen to a lot of his shit. Some things are useful, some things are not. What's really useful is one of his most raved and talked about morning protocols, is getting morning sun in your eyes when you wake up. As soon as you can, as soon as there is morning sun, dawn sun, if that is available to you, you should go outdoors and stare not at the sun, but get as much of that yellow blue light into your eyes, that nice, it's called golden hour, where it's just like sunrise and sunset. You get that nice auburny sort of yellow light. You've got to get that in your eyes for about 10 minutes every morning. And what that does is that sets your circadian rhythm. It also gives you a big spike of cortisol, which sets the rhythm of your circadian rhythm. So to reinforce a healthy sleep cycle. It goes, hey, you're awake now. In about 16 hours, you probably want to go to bed. This is how we set the clock every day. And I've been doing that daily for the last 12-ish months. And no, probably a little bit less. And it's been fantastic. I'll tell you what, I get up in the morning and, within like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, I feel like I'm ready for the day. So by 6:15, I feel like I'm at noontime, right? I'm up, I'm getting shit done. I'm usually building the course or doing something productive in the first hour of my day. I'm not dragging my feet through fucking, scrolling through my phone or just sort of being in that haze until I get my first coffee, which I do still do to a degree. I still definitely have a morning coffee, but even so, I think because I've modified my sleep so well, I depend less on caffeine. I used to be a guy that drank 2 long blacks every day. So I'd have 2 shots in the morning when I woke up, and then 2 shots at about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon to give me a bit more pep. I've gotten myself down to a single shot of coffee in the morning, and that's it. If I do feel a bit tired in the afternoon, I'll take a nap, 20 minutes. Again, from Dr. Andrew Huberman's sleep protocol, a 20-minute NSDR nap, which is non-sleep deep rest. What is that? That is that, you know, when you sort of snap on the couch and you sort of almost asleep, but it's got these weird ass vivid dreams. And you just have these crazy wild thoughts, but you're not fully asleep. That's what NSDR is. So sometimes I'll do that 20 minutes, half an hour, no longer than that in the middle of the day if I, need a little bit of a reset. We also need to bring back the culture of naps. So many cultures nap during the day, a lot of them during the hottest part of the day, and they usually have that nice night culture. I think just here in the Western world, because we're focused on being productive during the business hours of the day, that we don't make time or space for ourselves to actually recharge ourselves naturally with our own tools. Right? Sleep should not just be reserved for nighttime. There is a lot of benefits, particularly around learning. Again, learned this from the Andrew Huber daddy about how little power naps can actually help neuroplasticity and the ability to learn information, because your brain gets to slow down and process that information deeper into the neural circuitry that it's just learnt. So, again, Huberman, great stuff. What else have I learned from the Huber daddy? Supplementation. Actually, yeah, so we'll cover that off now. Supplements. I take supplements to go to sleep. Not because I've got some weird problem and it's like, oh, I need these to go to bed. There is to a degree, but we'll talk about that separately. But my main supplements to help facilitate sleep are magnesium and theanine. Magnesium, as a dude, we are critically low on magnesium in general. It provides a lot of benefits in mood. It also gets us into deeper REM sleep, consuming quality magnesium, and also prevents cramping. There's a mountain of benefits to it. I take about 500 milligrams of magnesium every day, about 5 capsules of just some, over-the-counter magnesium, just before I go to bed. It's very hard for you to overdose on magnesium. It's definitely very beneficial for men. But if you do take too much of it, there is a chance you'll shit your pants. If you take too much magnesium, there is a chance that you will shit yourself. So the idea is to take as much as you can before your stomach gets upset, and then, wean it back a little bit. But besides that, having a high magnesium diet or supplementing with a lot of it, fantastic benefits around that. I didn't learn that from Huberman, but he did recommend a supplement called theanine, which I do take. Theanine is some sort of, I can't remember. It's some sort of, what is it? An amino acid, I think it is. I don't know the benefits of it. I don't care. All I know is it does make me sleep better, and it gives you some fucking wild dreams. It really increases the vividness of your dreams when you sleep, almost to a point where sometimes I'll take the theanine before I go to bed, and I'm taking about 200 milligrams of theanine, so 2 capsules or 1 high-strength one. Again, are all available over the counter, maybe on some health supplement store, iHerb. Just look for L-theanine. 200 milligrams is plenty. But what happens is when I take this stuff and I start to go to sleep, it's almost like I am lucid dreaming sometimes. Like I could completely visualize an entire world whilst I'm in that half sleepy state where you're not quite asleep, and you, again, like the NSDR state where you're just sort of like, I'm awake, but I'm asleep, and there's just so many wild things going on. Sometimes I feel like I can see through my eyelids into a different world, and that's the theanine doing its magic. Crazy stuff. So highly recommend the magnesium and the theanine. One of the things I picked up from somebody else, from Nikita, was drinking chamomile tea. And there's something about the chamomile that facilitates sleepiness. I think it triggers some sort of hormone or something like that. I don't know which one it is. But chamomile tea, having a cup of that before you go to bed, it's not the nicest tea. It's a little bit bitter, but you just suck it up and take it. Also does get you into a deeper sleep. Highly recommend it if you can be bothered drinking a cup of tea before bed every night. I am not an old Englishman, so sometimes I'll do it when I know I really need to get some sleep in. Chamomile tea. And the other thing that has been recommended to me in regards to getting better quality sleep is a sauna. Now, the reason why saunas are so good for you is because of a lot of heat. You expand all your capillaries, you expand your blood flow, and that means that you are getting, with the increased blood flow, you are getting nutrients to your body a lot deeper and a lot faster than you would in a regular day. Right? Imagine it's like filling the heat just fills the highway that is your blood vessels with extra traffic, and that extra traffic and that extra circulation of heat moving around blood means the minerals and the resources that it contains get to your body faster and you actually heal quicker. So sauna is recommended for a couple of 20-minute sessions, 20-minute sessions a week. Just 20 minutes while you're in there. 3 to 4 times a week. I probably only do it about once or twice a week, to be honest. Sometimes it is hard to just sit in there and commit to that habit. But when I do a sauna, particularly on days where I'm deliberately trying to recharge and reset myself, getting into a sauna, sweating it out, getting that circulation going, I definitely feel a lot more refreshed the next day. So if you need a little recovery kit when it comes to, maybe you've had a big night. I've definitely done this when I've had big nights. The day after, I'll keep it pretty chill. And what I will do is I will make sure that I do this big sleep stack, right? Getting my magnesium in, going to a sauna, sweating out the demons, knowing that the circulation is going to be higher, getting the theanine in, drinking my chamomile tea, and sleeping like a fucking baby. Hot tip on that one. Really, really recommend that stuff. It makes you feel good. And the last thing that I do, the last thing that's worth talking about from my experience is the way that marijuana affects your sleep. Now, I know a lot of people do take marijuana and smoke it and, or consume it as an edible to, reduce anxiety, which helps them sleep better. And I do that as well. I've definitely done that. It's particularly last year when it wasn't very healthy, when I was drinking these 2 long blacks a day, I'd still be wired from the extra caffeine, having an extra cup of coffee at like 4 o'clock. And when it came to like 9 or 10 o'clock when I'm supposed to go to bed, I'd still be pretty wired. So then dangerously, or not dangerously, but unhealthily, I used to, have to smoke a joint or smoke a little weed so it would help me get to sleep. But it has been proven, and I believe this without the evidence itself, THC does affect the quality of your sleep. You may get to sleep easier, but getting into deeper sleep, it doesn't do that. It does not help. You get to a lighter sleep. You don't get into your deep REM sleep as much. And that's why people who smoke weed and go to sleep, they don't have a lot of dreams, because a lot of that dream state and all that mental processing actually happens in that deep REM sleep, which you don't get while you're on weed. So you're synthesizing the quality sleep that you're supposed to get. And I've noticed this. So on nights that I do not smoke and I might have some CBD instead, my dreams, like the dreams come with the theanine and having no THC in my system, they get vivid as fuck. Comparatively, I feel like I could be 3 levels deep in Inception sometimes. Like time is moving slow, things are happening, I can't tell what's reality, there's a top spinning, it's fucked. So as much as we love to say, oh yeah, man, marijuana is good for you and cannabis it's not harmful, man. There is, what goes up must come down. We can't believe that that marijuana is a panacea. As a result, I've had to taper off my smoking, to a couple of days less a week to ensure I get quality sleep and recover the way that I want. What I found with having CBD instead of THC is I still get that nice relaxed effect. Can still get to sleep, and I don't feel like the quality of my sleep is actually affected. So if you're using THC to get to bed and it's not for an anxious reason, I'd probably recommend moving to CBD instead. It's non-psychoactive. It just gives you a calm, relaxed feeling. You know, it takes the edge off the day. It's not this big psychoactive, oh, I'm fucking high. It's just, you kind of expect it to be because it's like, oh, it's cannabis-based. But it's actually just like, okay. It just takes takes 5-10% off you instead of just being baked. So yeah, you can see there, that is a pretty concise system of sleep for me. Let's run through that again. Get your bed and your pillow right. You're going to be on that shit for a third of your life. Tape your mouth to sleep. If you're a bad mouth breather when you sleep, making sure you circulate air through your nose and you actually take in oxygen better when you sleep through your nose, when you breathe through your nose and your throat. If you're not a morning person, automate a red light to help slowly wake you up as opposed to the blaring alarm that you have every day. Getting morning sun in your eyes, 10 minutes, sunlight in the eyes. Don't stare at the sun, you fucking moron. Stare close to the sun. You probably will squint a little bit. 10 minutes, 20 minutes if it's overcast. No sunglasses. If you're wearing sunglasses when you first wake up, something's wrong. You're probably on a bender. And at nighttime, low light, no bright lights, supplementation, 500 milligrams of magnesium, 200 milligrams of theanine, a nice cup of chamomile tea, a sauna if you can fit it in. You'll sleep like a fucking baby. Well, better than a baby because they wake up and shit themselves during the night. You'll sleep like a corpse, but you won't be dead. So it's good. Enjoy. And stay off the chuff. Remember when I said that these would be short episodes, no more than 10 minutes? Fucking hell. Your boy can talk. Part 3 of the pod, reflections. Looking back, observing life. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot recently is the concept of Ikigai. I've been focused on finding purposeful activities and purposeful work in my life. And when you look for purpose in life, you're going to find it. Right? You're going to find that you're not the only one that's looking for purposeful, meaningful work in your life. And the concept of Ikigai is something that comes up in a lot of self-improvement circles. It's a Japanese concept of fulfillment and purposeful work. There's a similar term in the French part of the world called raison d'être. I probably botched that, but it sounded pretty good rolling off the tongue, which is, again, reason to live. Right? You want to find fulfillment in your life. You want to do things that are purposeful, and you get that nice, warm feeling that you're doing something right in the world, something that means something to you, not just being the fucking cog in the machine, being the rat race, just doing things for the sake of doing them. It's fulfilling. We should all be chasing fulfillment and whatever that looks like in our lives at any time. So why I'm interested in Ikigai is it's got this beautiful Venn diagram. It's an integration of 4 key concepts. And the idea is to find purpose by intersecting these 4 quadrants. Right? And these 4 quadrants are what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. Right? So to break these down, what you love, of course, you've got to have a strong amount of emotion attached to it, good energy. Remember what I said, energy, right? Time, money, time, energy, identity. You want to focus on identity, but energy is also fucking great too. What is love? It's an emotion. What's an emotion? It's energy in motion. What you love is very important, or else you cannot do it over and over again. The physicality of it fucking drains you. So finding what you love. What the world needs. You need to be creating value in the world in some way, right? If people don't like or want what you are doing, it becomes art and you can't survive off it. And you might love it, but then maybe it's just a passion, right? And it's just something for you. Like, I think about like things like people that are into trains and model trains. That's a passion because the world doesn't fucking need that shit, right? Number 3 is what you can be paid for. So if you want to find purposeful work, you want to get paid so you can survive off this shit, right? Yeah, that's pretty simple. Can you exchange what you create or do in the world for value? Sure. People, there's a market for anything, for anyone. Right? Look at art. Look at what's in art galleries. People make dumb shit all the time. Well, I think it's dumb. I'm sure it has meaning beyond it, but I'm more of a auditory creative than a visual one. So, can you get paid for it? Do we want to talk about the depths of mixing art and commerce? We'll save that for a different podcast, right? We'll smoke one of those long French cigarettes that has the holder in them. I'll wear a beret. And we can be like, you should not. You are losing. You are being a sellout. So I told you it's going to be accent heavy. Wait for the Japanese accent that I'm about to do. Oy. And then the last thing that you should of the four, sorry, is what you are good at. You better be good at this shit because you might love it, but if you're not good at it, you're probably not going to create anything of value, and people aren't probably going to want it, right? So, hang on, excuse me, what was that? Oh, no, ignore that. So, if we intersect some of these sections, right, according to the concept of Ikigai, if you mix what you love and what the world needs, that's your mission, right? That is something that you can work towards. It's more of a value-based activity, something to look forward to, your mission. Every man should have a mission. That's a good way to find purpose and direction in your life, and eventually you can get paid for it, and eventually you get good at it. But we need a mission. Men need direction. We need to point in a direction. Like I said this before, look at our dicks. We're meant to go in the direction of our dicks, forward. And the best way to go forward is to have a reason to be going forward, and that is your mission. What the world needs and what you could be paid for is your vocation. What's a vocation? It's a job. We've all got jobs, right? We're always exchanging time for money to do something menial or some sort of value creation to an organization. We all know what a job is, right? But doesn't mean that you are passionate about it. You might not love it. Maybe you're not even good at it. Maybe you're just fucking doing it because it's a job, right? I can't see there's many passionate Uber Eats drivers. We're just fucking pedaling along to get you food so we can get some money. Simple. And the intersection between what you can be paid for and what you are good at is your profession. So that's the difference between vocation and profession. Professional means you're fucking good at it. You get paid probably pretty well compared to others when you do it. Yeah, that's, I think, a pretty straightforward concept as well. It's your job. Do you love it? Maybe not. Does the world need it? Probably, but not necessarily all the time. So that's your profession concept. And what was the last one? Oh, I think we did this one. Passion already? I think we did passion. The intersection between what you are good at and what you love is passion. And again, yeah, that was the train analogy. I fucked that up. Edit point. So when you look at this concept of Ikigai, if you can find something that you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you are good at, that is the Ikigai. Very good, the Ikigai. See, I told you it wasn't going to be great. This is a very cancelable episode, but it's fun. Yeah, so with Ikigai, that's the idea. That's the core of purpose. If you can find a beautiful intersection of that, something that you love, the world needs it, they'll pay you for it, and you're good at doing this, right? And so when you search yourself in life about trying to find purposeful, intentful things, you might have a couple of these ready to go, but maybe you're lacking a couple of them. And that's fine because you can leverage the other concepts, right? Maybe you love something and you think you can get paid for it. You don't know if the world needs it and you don't know if you're good at it yet. That's fine. You can figure out over time as you get better and you get more involved if the world needs it because you'll connect with people. There'll be a network. There'll probably be some exchange of resources. Probably people will be selling tools in the industry that you're in, if whatever you're trying to build. So don't feel like you're necessarily going to have all these things at once. And why I was really interested in it is because when I was building Aussie Comedy Network, it felt like it was purposeful work for me. It came from the core of who I am, and it really empowered me when I was talking about the business and what it could have been and the big dream about it. But what I soon realized, how Ikigai, where I failed the concept of Ikigai, out of those four, I only had three of them, right? I loved it. The world needed it. I could be paid for it, but I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't very good at being a comedian and then also being a producer, okay? And the reason why is because I wasn't very good is I was young. I'm young to the comedy game. I was only about 2 or 3 years in to a 10-year apprenticeship of comedy. So I didn't have a brand. No one really knew me as a comedian except my friends in the local scene. Pretty much no one interstate knew who I was. My comedy, I had probably about a good 10, 15 minutes at the time. Probably a bit more, but, not that much material. Never done a full hour. I wasn't a professional by any standards as far as comedy was concerned. And then when it came to the digital comedy platform, I had no experience in social media and content creation or producing because I actually kind of stayed away from social media or putting myself out there on social media because I didn't really like the way I looked and I didn't feel confident about putting myself out there at the time. And I'm still working on that. I'm getting better at it. But that was one of my biggest, steepest learning curves when I started to get into ACN, was the fact that I was going to have to put myself out there as a brand and represent comedy, or at least try to, from that perspective. And people are going to go, who the fuck is this guy? It's not like he's Will Anderson saying I've got a comedy platform. So that's what I was underprepared in the comedy space. And then in the production space, like social media marketing has really only become a thing in the comedy industry for the last 2 or 3 years, right? Probably since around the pandemic. People were putting up clips and whatnot, but then comedy blew up during the pandemic because people wanted to laugh. And people were putting up stand-up clips and crowd work and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of the people that were good at it had a production background. Or, people really mastered putting themselves out there in a short form like TikTok or a reel, where TikTok was deliberately framing itself as it doesn't have to be this curated, picture-perfect content like Instagram was. You could just create dumb shit with your selfie camera and the front camera on your phone and create a following. And yeah, I, again, wasn't good at that. And what I realized when I was developing ACN is that I was creating an open mic for Australian content creators, because I was targeting, people like myself who are only a couple of years into the game, so they're relatively new to comedy. So that's a new skill. And then they've got to layer this extra new skill on top, which is content creation and production, which they weren't very good at. And again, people are still, you might be a comedian, but it is confronting sometimes to put yourself out in a way that you're not used to. Like, I can talk shit on a stage whenever I want because I'm used to talking all the time and being in sales. But as I've talked about many times in this podcast, being in front of a camera and being in front of a lens, it's a different beast, and it's kind of paralyzing because there's no energy to what you're doing. Because if you're trying to make a joke, at least if you are making jokes in a stage, in a comedy club, there's feedback, there's laughter. You've got to hope and believe that this shit is funny, and hopefully it makes you laugh in the process of doing it, or else it's just going to fail. So that's what I realized is that I was too immature at the skill set of what I needed to be successful in ACN. And that was one of the driving forces as to why it wasn't working for me, is that I did not have a way to add value to the ecosystem besides bringing and creating a centralized platform for content, which is still a great idea, particularly because Australia needs a leg up artistically in the world. But for people that are great at content creation, they don't need ACN, because social media does the job of scaling out their content because they want quality content out there because they're in the attention wars. That's all social media is. It's a war for your attention. So even though I felt this purposeful intent of Ikigai while I was creating ACN, ultimately I failed in it. I don't say I failed, but it's the term that comes up a lot in my head is that where Ikigai failed for me or I failed, the concept of Ikigai was just not being good at it. And yeah, it's just being realistic. It's being honest with myself about my skills and my capabilities instead of bullshitting myself about what I could do. And I realized, I had to go back to the drawing board and learn how to produce and create stuff, which I've done. I've learned content creation. I've learned how to do videography on mobile. All of the video and all the content that you see is all done based on mobiles and learning software and solutions that are on the phone itself. And I'm still in the process of learning how to create content effectively and efficiently in the world, hence this podcast and putting clips out all the time. But from a comedic perspective, I still had many years to go to develop a brand that was valuable as far as my own brand to leverage inside the market about what I could create for it. And then realizing that the platform and its target audiences, its source content was being sourced from people that were very new to this concept of content creation and weren't very good at it. So then do you get? I might have amassed a decent amount of followers early on, about 15,000 followers across all the platforms, but it was a lot of misses for every hit because the people's content that I was reposting wasn't great. Not a lot of it's memorable. So that's it. That's the concept of Ikigai. Again, a really useful tool to self-analyze on. What are you good at? What do you love? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? Think about that in your life. What skills, what experience do you have that fits all four? Something to aim towards when you want to look for something purposeful in your life. Thought I had it. It didn't really work out the way I intended. No regrets. Loved doing ACN. Loved the lessons. Loved the learnings. And yeah, there is an element of failure in there, but I love it. And I'm totally fine with it. It makes me better next time around. Hopefully with this sales course. Let's see what Amsterdam has to hold for me. That's the podcast, everyone. That's the show. I said I would be keeping this quick, but again, I have rallied on for another hour. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for your attention and riding out the wave. You know where to find me. At Jameel J. Raymond on all the socials and all the interwebs. Find me anywhere and everywhere. If you've got any questions, feedback, if you want advice, I would love to set up an advice column on this pod. I will do that soon when I get back from the trip maybe. Write to me, DM me, send me a letter. I'd love to hear from you guys. Any feedback is appreciated. If you want to share the love, please share this pod with a friend. Share the clips that I'm putting out daily now on the interwebs. Rate the pod 5 stars. You know what to do. It's not the first time you've been told to fucking like and subscribe. Anyway, that's the pod. Next week, I will be podcasting from Amsterdam. I will try and make that a sober one, but it should be a lot of fun. I've been Jameel Raymond. Thank you, bingers, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.